I'd like to talk about one thing in category management that probably is the most important issue that's never been measured until now. It's something we've always talked about, certainly for the last 30 years we've talked about it, but we've really been talking about it through pure guesswork. And that's all about category role. When we started Shopper Intelligence, one of the first things we focused on was, can we help strategic decisions about what role categories play in a typical store? It's an absolutely critical discussion. It's actually foundational to the strategy that a category must have. If you think about a supermarket, it's a bunch of categories that are like levers you can pull to achieve certain outcomes. If you want to drive growth, you need to know which categories you're going to use for what purpose. And if you're a manufacturer talking to a retailer, you've got to figure out what's the appropriate strategy to recommend, so when they receive your proposals, they're going to go, yep, that makes sense to us. So who is the guardian of the role of the category? Well, when we were training it 15, 20 years ago, we ended up saying, well, the retailer gets to decide. And sure, they do. From a strategic point of view, they can decide how to use categories. But who actually determines the role of the category? Well, I'd say it's the shopper. It's the shopper who knows the role the category played in their shopping experience. They knew the impact it had on them because they were the ones making the purchase. So for me, the only way you're actually going to know the role of a category is to ask the shopper. Shopper Intelligence is a program of interviews that creates a database that for the first time gives us some very hard, quantitative, objective metrics about category role. So when I say category role, what am I talking about? Well, for us, it really boils down to two fundamental points. A category can be really strong for driving traffic, or it can be really strong for driving spend, or it could be both. So traffic. Everyone talks about traffic driving categories. What do we actually mean? Well, they're the categories that have the strongest influence on whether a shopper comes to this store in the first place. We have about 5 measures we ask the shoppers about, and we benchmark categories whether they're strong or weak relative to each other on those measures. So we can actually put some fact into discussion. Is this category actually good at driving traffic? What about spend? Well, spend is the second part of the equation. Spend is, once we've got the shopper, how do we get them to put more dollars in the till? Do we get it by getting them to buy extra items, or maybe buying slightly more expensive items, or maybe trying some premium ranges or something like that? Traffic or spend?